Hey yo, my dudes, it's your boy Max from With Free Media back at it again with another detailed guide. So this episode is a follow-up for my first guide ever, which was obviously stuck at level 50. But note that the core fundamentals are still there, so if you're still new to this channel, please do check out the video in the description below. I'll wait. Alright, are you done? Good. Let's continue. So just a quick recap about what archer skills to prioritize depending on the situation. For the longbow, we've got the twin shot, which is still one of the most versatile skills for both fields, along with aerial chain shot. So evade shot for the artilleries out there, I'm sure they got that working out for you. Swift shot is still a PvP skill. Cheating point is now considered a top tier PvP skill due to the added EX effect. Detonating arrow, although the skill was updated with faster animations, the cooldown is still what drags this down to a more of a PvE skill with some personal preferences for PvP. Tackle back shot, one of the new skills introduced by the latest patch, and is honestly a great skill to replace twin shot with. The engage and disengage potential is what drives the point home. The great board damage is a sweet plus. Optical arrow is one of those skills that looks weak but actually has a lot of utility. If only it had an EX version, then it would have been a top tier skill. It has a secret knockup effect when the orb spawns, so you can spam the heck out of this during wars. Don't be fooled by the diffusion-ish effect though, because that small 120% board damage is divided into 3 for the 3 arrows that shoot out. Moving on to chain skills, we've got charge shot. Our melee range is one heck of a doozy, so definitely the signature skill of a sniper. While rapid shot never scales down as a PvE skill but has some uses in a PvP environment, especially in guild wars. Arrow shower, PvP if you're a sniper, otherwise it's PvE. Triangle shot, still one of the best chain skills in terms of utility and damage, especially on EX mode. Siege stance, which really packs a punch for both cases. Tracking arrows is of course the best artillery skill, hands down. Moving on to crossbow, we've got Willow Kick, of course, that needs some damage boost to compensate for its animation speed. Kick shot, still a good all-around skill, while binding shot is still a great utility skill. Looming kick is of course the go-to normal skill for PvP, and Spiral Vortex is a great filler skill and has some decent perks under the support role. Rising Storm, it's still one of the best crossbow skills up to date, and you can never go wrong with some great super armor and high base damage. Spinning Fire is very similar to the longbow's tackle back shot, but has slightly lower damage. ED really placed some emphasis on the archer's kiting potential. Airwalk combo, this is one of my new favorite skills in terms of how cute the archer looks when she's stomping the heck out of the target. Damage and utility wise, it's also great. Note that in PvP though, the stun only applies on the third stomp, so be cautious when you use this skill in PvP, as the super armor for this skill isn't so great. Alright, moving on to crossbow chain skill. So we've got multi-shot, and it's still an awesome PvP skill, although I believe it's severely underpowered. It does have a slight knockback effect, so kinda relevant in PvP. Circle shot only becomes relevant when it's on EX mode. They added a great damage boost and a nice lift to drive the point home. DSK, double somersault kick, is still one of the best chain skills, definitely a staple if you enjoy using a crossbow as an archer or when you advance to a Tempest. Cyclone kick at the EX mode for this is just nuts. Range, more hits, and a pull effect should be enough to convince you to grab this for both PvP and PvE. Windwalkers out there, rejoice. Eagle Dive, still a staple for Coliseum enthusiasts, becomes more relevant under EX mode. Hurricane Dance, what can I say? Hurricane Dance is still a great skill despite the long animation, and it's got some minor improvements under EX mode. But what really makes this skill shine is the iframe for the duration of the skill under the attack roll. And lastly, we have ultimates, Arrow Barrage. So if you're a sniper, it's one of those skills that just melts the HP bar, especially under the EX mode. Revolution Ballista, which is great for PvP. Unless you're opting for a sniper, grab this ult for Team PvP or Guild War. Divine Rage is still a duelist ult, and Spiral Edge is still great for PvP, and when under the EX mode gives a lot of utility with that pull. The next part is the most important update for us archers. With the recent addition of new actives and passives that can be unlocked at level 100, there are a couple of skills that we need to consider. Starting with the attack roll, and that is Lively Wind. It's basically the younger sister of the Stork's Time Explosion, and the silence immunity is purely situational and only worth investing if you want to go rapid pew pew for the next 10 seconds. Up next is definitely one of the best attack actives, and that is Sharp Breeze, generating an additional 16% attack damage with a flat 6k attack for 20 seconds is definitely a must-have for all archers. We're still the top 1 DPS, and this further cements our spot on that list. Make sure to cast this with Rage of Owl and when your chain skills are up for optimal damage. Casting Arrow Barrage with this buff is also a moment. Our updated attack passives also received a nice package. With Speedy Step, which is more aligned with PvP due to the freeze resistance and cooldown reduction. Don't get me wrong, it's an awesome passive with a hint of preference, but I want to talk more about Resilience nature. This skill packs a total of 563 additional attack with a nice stun resistance. Note that passives are activated in all phases of the game, be it daily quests or nests. Definitely grab this one for both PvP and PvE. Moving on to the support passives, which starts with Recovery Wind. The barrier is the only thing that matters here. This skill shines in fair fights like Conquest War, where everyone's not based on CP, and that added protection for allies is a much needed buff when you decide to push for an objective. Note that you can cheese this out with Time of Undying, which increases the buff duration towards you. Gloomy Breeze is where things become different, as it's the archer's version of Wild Howl. Remember that annoying silence that a warrior casts? Yeah. This also drops the enemy's critical damage to a ridiculous amount, so it's a role skill that's pretty much annoying. Definitely a must-have depending on what role you want to play during Guild Wars or Team PvP. Support passives are made even better in PvP with Mild and Chilly Spirit. Both passives give a huge boost to stun, freeze, silence, and slow resistance, but Mild Spirit carries the bigger stick as stun and silence are the most common form of crowd control in the game. At this point, I'm still wondering why a lot of Sorks haven't made the transition from support to attack. I don't know why. With that being said, let's move on to the equipment section. So archers definitely need to stack on attack, especially in PvE, so having the attack suffix is mandatory for your setup. PvP wise, destruction or battle is the way. Now for accessories, you only have 2 choices for PvE, Mastery or Vengeance. Mastery is best paired with Spirit's Trick for that threat reduction so that you can focus more on unleashing your chain skills rather than dodging. Vengeance, on the other hand, is more aggressive, so in nests like DDN or Tarion, where you need to constantly move or dodge, finding the right window to release your chain skills with more damage is a better approach, so that goes for Vengeance. In terms of DPS, archers with Mastery accessories still deal more damage in total, but it is always at the risk of dying, unless you're really good with dodging, so all in all, this will depend on what you want. Moving on to attack Jades, which is sort of tricky because it will rely on a lot of RNG, but the core stats that you need to obtain are as follows. So by order of priority, you need to, of course, get critical rate and critical damage capped under the support role, which is 19.5 and 21.5k respectively. After that, you'll need to hoard all of the attack grinds, followed up with penetration, which doesn't have a cap because defense doesn't have a cap either. The next core stats you need to obtain are defense, health, and reduction stats. Now on the topic on which Jade you should get. So honestly, Ancient Armor Jades are already fine. What really matters with the new Jades are the forgotten accessory Jades. So penetration is such an important stat for future content as you'll need it for the likes of Desert Dragon, Tarion, or even Hagen 8. It has been proven that penetration is basically armor penetration, so no more debates, ladies and gentlemen, it's settled. Just a side note, critical resist is a fun stat to play around, especially in PvP. The highest critical resist I've heard so far is at a whopping 57k, and rumor has it that there were barely any crits seen. I'll leave the results to your imagination. Lastly, for Jades, we have Awakening, so it's still a simple setup. Have 5 pieces of Max and Antares for that sweet Spirit Obtain rate, even though if you're going for Vengeance accessories. You gotta compensate for that Spirit Obtain rate, no matter what. Moving on to seals, so it's already a given that you should always pick out the unique seals with 3 stats for maximum optimization. Having a unique seal is the priority here as this gives a huge boost on your seal imprint stats. Speaking of imprints, this is where you compensate for the stats you are looking for, so in a perfect situation, having a triple S attack is the best you can have. Specialization is the new addition to the long list of things that can give you a headache, so ideally you'd want to max out your attack stat first. After that, you can choose either increased PvP damage or take the core stats that you lack, like critical rate, critical damage, or penetration. Don't forget to fill out your specialization slots, as these give a huge core stat boost. Make sure to have tons of red diamonds and reach spec level 150 to open up these slots. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we hope this guide helped you out. So if you think we missed something, please let us know down in the comments. But before I go, I'd like to drop some quick shoutouts to these awesome people. Merlion, Raruni, Zeldris, Eds, Primekite. Yo, thanks for requesting a guide, Primekite. I have that queued, so you'll get it soon. Hordiest, our fanbam from Quinks. Lemonades from Overgeared. Alright, so also I'd like to promote my good friend's channel. So if you're into Japanese songs, then my friend over here has some very, very beautiful covers that's guaranteed to delight your ears. So check it out, check it out, check it out. Please do support a fellow content creator. That's it for now. Peace out, my dudes. Be nice, stay safe, and we'll see you next time.